Now, if you think you're under pressure on our crowded roads, just imagine what a fire engine driver faces. He has to get 13 tons of machinery and the crew to an incident as quickly as he can, often through heavy traffic. And with the adrenaline pumping during a high-speed run that typically lasts less than 3 minutes, he knows lives could be hanging in the balance. Accidents like this can happen, and of course a fire engine that's crashed and fails to get to a fire is useless. Manchester Fire Service have a good record, but still have an accident every 15,000 miles. Now, to help drivers avoid problems on slippery streets, they developed this unique bit of kit. It's a scaled-up version of the Skidmaster system we've already tried out, fitted to cars. It means their drivers can experience the sensation of loss of control at low speeds and in complete safety. So, how does the vehicle work? Well, at the front, there's some quite sophisticated modifications to both steering and brakes. Now, to reproduce that petrifying loss of control when you've locked the wheels on a wet or icy road, they can actually isolate the steering wheel from the box, and they can change the braking to either give you no brakes at all or full ABS. At the back, they built in a steerable rear axle to reproduce skids and air suspension so they can tilt the body and reproduce the roll that you get in such frightening situations. Ugh. Inside, the cab's fairly conventional, but the key to the vehicle is the control pad that the instructor uses to induce all these violent manoeuvres. So let's see how it goes. Ooh, I've always wanted to drive a fire engine. The instructors concentrate on 3 problem areas: cornering, weight transfer in an S-bend, and the consequences of wheel locking.
We're going to create a rear wheel skid situation. We already have the excessive speed. You create this skid by inducing excessive steering.
Look, she's gone.
Yeah, to correct it, you come off the accelerator, you use corrective steering, but if you overcorrect, then we get the second and third skid situation. Once the rear wheels are in line with the front, then take off this corrective steering and we're back under control.
So what happens if you start a curve and then you brake and lock the wheels? The answer, well, you can do what you like at the wheel, but as long as you stand on the brakes, the engine goes straight on and 13 tons doesn't stop in a hurry. Braking hard in a straight line, you get simulated loss of steering and brakes. But lift off to restore control and the engine will dive off in the direction you've wound the wheel, and that's very disturbing. Finally, a demonstration of ABS. With the system engaged, the engine stops straight and the driver experiences the pumping of the pedal. The training vehicle cost Greater Manchester £80,000. They hope to sell courses to other brigades, but above all, if they save just one write-off at £100,000 an engine, it's been good value for money. Now, this is a scene all firefighters dread. A tanker with 7,000 gallons of petrol on board rolled over and caught fire in Sunderland. 20 fire engines rushed to the scene, 42 parked cars were damaged. Miraculously, no one was killed. Now, BP alone had 11 such rollover incidents right across Europe last year, and it cost the company £3 million. What can be done about the situation? Well, one way is this special tanker with outrigger wheels. It allows the driver to experience the onset of rollover in safety. With this new device, you don't need wide open spaces to illustrate the problem. For BP, a quiet corner of the Partington oil terminal was quite sufficient. The whole idea is to impress on drivers that when they're fully loaded, there's little warning or sensation before the onset of rollover. Building up to 25 kilometres an hour, and the rig is still perfectly stable. 27, 28, 30 kph, 31 kph, and she's up. And there's the wheels right up in the air. I've got no chance of controlling that, and it would be right over in the real world situation. You might argue that tanker drivers don't go round and round in circles, but this vehicle is travelling well under 20 miles an hour, just like a roundabout at the bottom of a motorway slip road. The same sort of thing could happen if a driver suddenly found something or someone in his path. Then a split-second decision must be made to brake hard and risk hitting the obstruction, or to swerve and risk overturning. Tanker drivers, of course, are trained to anticipate such situations and hopefully avoid them. But if conventional tankers are so unstable, isn't there something more fundamental we can do with the design of the things? Well, we've already seen just such a device on Top Gear in the spring, the Wilson double-deck tanker. This one has 5,000 gallons of water on board, and none of it above 5 foot 6 inches high. It means the centre of gravity is only 3 feet off the ground, so it's virtually impossible to turn over. Coupled with its double skin to minimise the risk of rupture, it's a much safer drive all round. Surely the industry should be demanding this sort of redesign rather than trusting to luck and driver training.